Dan.
Yay! All right, guys.
Nice. Yeah, Choinya's got the right idea in the chat. Just drop the Uno cards. It's time to get to the bottom of what Project Uno is. We're going to do that this hour. So sit tight, folks, and we'll be getting to that in a minute. We'll probably dedicate the first 15 minutes or so here, though, to all the other things that are happening in Aavegotchi. And then right around the quarter after mark, we'll jump into Project Uno. So I think we have to. It's fair because there's so many things happening in across the Aavegotchi ecosystem, right? So if we look at just what's going on in the Discord chat, I saw today, um, Soju. Soju's got like what's his name, Chris, the guy that created the Neon Cat,
Oh, I
like
saw that.
commenting and reacting to his work. It's awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's an achievement. Artist achievement unlocked right there.
That's dope.
I had to like do a double take. I was like, is that for real? So
Man, I
it all right. So
feel.
you just
I was just gonna say I
is that
feel real lucky here because Soju and I are gonna be working on something pretty soon here. There'll be something fake gotchi coming out pretty soon.
nice? More alpha. So
That's some alpha.
yeah. Well, he does so much. What aspect can you deliver any more? When will we know more, or what kind of role are you doing
Uh,
the music? Are you coloring in the lines? What's going on here?
it's definitely a collaborative it's a collaborative piece. I can't say too much about it, but it's something I wanted to do with Soju for a long time because I really like his art style. And we had a conversation this last week where I was actually able to like find what who's gonna be doing what on this thing. And I've been working on my drawing skills the last bit. I've come a long way from Fake Sam, so I'm really looking forward to this one.
That's super cool. I wonder if it'll be ready for Miami. So we got Lost Local on
Oh
stage. Maybe before we get too into it, there was a tweet that went out a few days ago about Dive Miami. I believe this is one of the venues where we're going to have a strong presence and an event during Art Basel in early December. So, Lost Logo, maybe you could give us a quick update on Miami and why people should be there, especially on the fake Gachi front.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got so much cooking. We've been working with the gotcha greeters in the background, getting everything set for our activations and events in Miami. But Dive, our kind of official event where we are a principal sponsor, started sharing this week. That's going to be based out of the Gates Hotel, which is in Miami Beach. We are putting together a bunch of really, really fun stuff. I've been working with the guys the last couple days. Travel's getting booked. Airbnb got locked in last night. Working on some really fun giveaways. So there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff going on. More details are going to get rolled out this week.
Talk to me about the Gachi Greetors. I have an idea of it, but I think a lot of people listening may not know what that reference is. Is this related to the DAO vote that recently passed?
That is, yeah, formally, I believe the ITF is now the Gotchi Greeters, and this is a huge accomplishment for the DAO. This is a organization inside the DAO that's going to specifically work with me and Pixelcraft on our IRL activations. So this is the first time we're seeing this initiative kind of get put into action. This includes folks that are going to be working day to day at the various activations that we have going on, which obviously we'll find out more details about during this call. But also a way to activate our community. Zbot has a top secret fake project going on as well that Gotcha Greeters are going to be helping with. So I think he'll be dropping some alpha on that. I'm not sure if he's going to talk about that today or not, but yeah, this is that vote in action, and this organization that the DAO has selected to start showing up at IRL events and working with Pixelcraft.
Hell yeah.
Amazing.
So good.
All right. So long story short, if you are, in any position to go down to Miami for Art Basel and you know you're looking for that once a year like big trip for Aavegotchi meetups, this might be the one. Also, some of the greeters, do we know who some of those are? I saw a tweet from you, No Futuristic. You mentioned like you're going to be in Miami. Are you one of the greeters?
Oh yeah, I'm one of the greeters. So just getting ready. I've actually been doing a little minor DAO biz dev stuff, trying to get some partnerships for prizes for some of our activations. So yeah, just getting ready to hopefully go out there and rep the DAO well.
No, it sounds fantastic. And I see Soju here following up. It says Neon Daddy strikes again. What happened here? Is he are you guys
Just
like
liked his post. It looks like.
you guys are best friending? You guys are like holy cow. You might be a super fan. Oh my goodness. I can't wait for the fake Gotchi collab. I mean I'm FOMO for the Hefe one, but if
Dude, that would
Chris
be insane.
gets in, holy cow. You guys. Fake Gotchis, man, they're gonna have their moment because there's just too much talent, too much going on there. And Los Lobos, it's like 4 days. Just to be clear, we have a booth, like 4 days of goodness, right? It's gonna be pretty nuts.
So we're gonna have this official booth. It's 2 days, and then on the third day, which is Sunday, there is going to be a private holder event for Gotchi Gang. So we're also going to be spinning up a Luma, RSVP invite for our community this week. Light Piglet will have that hit the Discord, and there'll be some additional events for Gotchi Gang. So Thursday night, there's a rave that our community is involved with. Then Friday, Saturday are the full hotel takeover at the Gates Hotel. And Sunday, we'll be doing a poolside brunch for Gotchi Gang at the Gates Hotel.
Okay, so basically, if you got an Aavegotchi, if you're part of Gotchi Gang, you're in for free at the Gates Hotel to chill poolside and have a great brunch and mingle.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of events for Gotchi Gang. We'll also, as people RSVP on the Luma, we'll try to spin up a separate group inside the Discord, and we'll make sure that we share all the RSVPs for any satellite events happening in Miami during that week.
Yeah, if you have any questions, if you're at all on the fence or trying to plan your schedule, just hit up Lost Local. He's going to take care of you. And gosh, there's so much going on. We got to give a Z-Bot here. He said, remember friends, fake OG for a real cause. There's an Aavegotchi auction with 1 hour, 20 minutes left to go. And I hope I don't mess this up. This is for T-Bird, right? T-Bird's going through some personal stuff, got some medical news. He's fighting it and fighting the good fight. And so
That's so amazing.
yeah, just glad everybody's rallying
Let's
to
pump it,
support.
friends.
Yep, I'm gonna be pumping that as well. So if you want bid to earn, I'm gonna be outbidding you here in a little bit. So yeah, big love to T-Bird. Shout out, T-Bird's in the chat. We're all with you, man. And yeah, it's just and then also while we're talking about art and fake gotchis and everybody rallying around the various creatives. This week we got more details on the sandbox and the Gotchiverse, Ripples of the Gotchiverse game. One of the cooler pieces of this, if you listen to the AMA or look through, is this part here. GFA actually reached out and worked with Stellar Hobbs to put together a graphic novel version of the lore they developed for the game. So, I think the lore for the game is fantastic. They brought it to Pixelcraft early on, wanted to get it kind of approved, make sure it didn't clash with canon or anything too crazy. We're like, this is great. Basically, the premise is like, imagine you have a ledger. Somebody has a ledger. This grandfather had a ledger from back in the day and left it, bequeathed it to, or it was discovered by his grandson. And that leads into the whole adventure into the Gotchiverse, which is just a really, really cool way to go about it. So that story gets further developed in this graphic novel, and all of the art is done by Stellar Hobbs. And yeah, it's just really, really cool how that's come together. In the chat yesterday, there was some talk about, well, there's 50 copies if you own one of the legendary equipments that are available, the Gotchi-themed equipments in Sandbox, then you basically automatically get one of these. That's my understanding. But I do believe, and we've talked about in Lost Locals helping a lot with the sourcing on this. We probably will either have more physical copies eventually, especially if there's the demand and you guys signal that, or at the very least, I mean, everybody should have access to the story. I think we want to get that up digitally online, and it's just a matter of where to host it and how to display it. But worst comes to worst, we'll just have a GFA special and go through the story and do a reading together right here on a Hangout. So
It's
doesn't have to
it
be.
is on Voice Me, right? So I would assume
Is
that
it?
they're going to also put it. Well, it was made by Voice Me. I mean, they published it, so I think it's probably going to be on the platform at some point. Maybe
I really
GFA guys would know better.
okay.
Yeah, that hasn't been discussed yet. However,
Okay.
I definitely see opportunity there to go that route.
One way or another, this story is going to be, we're all going to get to enjoy the work that Stellar put into it and the work that the team put into it, writing it. And yeah, long story short on that, like it was outside the scope of the DAO. So the DAO proposal was to build the game, right?
Hmm.
And then this was just like they came to me early on and was like, this story is really good. We'd love to do something like this as just, a cherry on top. And in terms of paying for the production of that, that's where Pixelcraft just came in and closed the gap. We just wanted to support and make sure that this is something that could be created. So we're always happy to do that when we can. And this definitely seemed like it rose to that kind of level where it's like this needs to exist. The work's been done. So yeah, check that out. I just shared the link. Ripples of the Gotchiverse. Is what a title.
I know it's crazy. It's
That's cool.
so crazy just playing through that experience and the storyline, like you were saying. I tweeted some of my adventures this week in the sandbox, wandering around with my avatar to different experiences and playing through the Ripples experience. And speaking to those legendary items, Jesse, if you don't own a Bushido Gotchi set in the Gotchi in Aavegotchi, which not many of us do, this is your opportunity to get your hands on a Bushido Gotchi set in the sandbox, and those are the legendary items. So definitely worth checking out. I think there's quite a few left still, but they are. I think each one only has a limited run. Like each piece, like the chest, the legs, each has only like 10. So they're not as many as you think, but they're out there still. The Aavegotchi
Yeah,
marketplace.
I was surprised on the AMA we hosted the other day with some of the Sandbox team that helped make this happen. And they were saying that some of the items have sold out. So it's, of course, available on secondary, but um, pretty cool that there's demand. I don't think it's all Gotchi Gang buying that up, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Sandbox Gang is reacting to this, and those players are enjoying what we've built, what the GFA has built. So by the way, Hefe, how long did it take you to beat the game? Because I think that's one part people should be aware. I think you can beat the game in under an hour, right? And enjoy the whole full experience, go through the story and the multiple levels.
I didn't get quite to the end, but it took me probably about an hour because I got stuck in the dungeon. So I have to figure out how to. I got stuck in one part of the dungeon. But I think once you make it through the dungeon, you've basically played the main core story, but then there's little side things you can do. Like there's a gotchi guessing game you could play. There's a fake gotchi gallery. There's like this like lounge that you can visit with all the guilds. Like there's all these little things you can do after you've done the main story. So I was kind of like doing the main quests, and then I was also like wandering around and looking at all the cool things. And they've done a really good job. Like they nailed a lot of the details.
They
You can
really
actually
did.
walk into the gotchi lot, like multiple gotchi lodges, and go to different like little areas that have been like completely designed. So
Yeah, they've beat us to a lot of parts. Like hats off to them. They get you out of the Citadel or to other parts of the Citadel. They really took some creative freedom. And there's like the catacombs under the Citadel. I think
hmm
that's a cool addition. Um, did you make it to the beach? They even got the beach going on, beach party.
what? Oh my god,
Yeah,
I missed the beach. I got to go back
yeah,
in there because I see I didn't even get that one. But I definitely got to go back and see that now.
yeah. So I think it's only available. I just dropped a link. It's available till I think the 23rd.
hmm
So you got an hour, maybe 2 hours, depends how you want to go through it, find every Easter egg, but there's plenty of content packed into those 1, 2, 3 hours. And
hmm
yeah, definitely worth checking it out. Basically, I got into it last weekend, didn't have a chance to finish it, and I'll be trying to wrap it up this weekend and get through the rest
Same.
because it's really well done. Cool. We got to get to, all right, Project Uno is coming up, guys. It's on the way. We're going to be revealing that in a few minutes. But we also have to address another big shipping this week. Coder Dan, we just launched on Hyperplay, right? One of the big
Yes, sir.
aggregators. Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
have
that,
the build on Hyperplay and also live in the game center for Spirit Force Arena. Um, so yeah, I'm curious if anyone has jumped into the latest version. Have you played it on the game center or in Hyperplay? What do you guys think of Hyperplay so far? Any initial thoughts on anything? There's been it was quite the turnaround for the team from the last playtest ending and then this build basically going to hyperplay. It was actually about not even 2 weeks that they made a ton of changes based on all the player feedback and then shipped it to hyperplay. So what you guys playing here is I think it was actually made on like November 10th and then given to hyperplay, but they made a ton of changes. So yeah, I'm curious if anyone has played it and what do you guys think of the new balance changes and kind of the some of the fixes that they've made.
I agree with what Light Piglet's saying there. He says Hyperplay onboard process was pretty smooth, and I totally agree. I downloaded Hyperplay. I got the Spirit Force Arena installed through there, and it was so seamless. Like actually, Steam has a worse onboarding process. Like it's harder to actually onboard into Steam because they make you do all this stuff and download all these like plugins and stuff before you can actually play. But downloading this was super easy. I downloaded the Hyperplay
Yeah.
desktop client, and then I was able to just download Spirit Force Arena, but I haven't got to play the actual experience yet. So I'm kind of curious to know, like you from others, what it's been like.
I think for me, the most impressive part is just the amount of updates and changes they were able to make based off the Halloween one. So, in just a matter of basically one sprint, they took in all the feedback and things like really some of them are so simple and yet make a huge difference and maybe weren't simple to implement, but like the radar. Now, if like you're making noise or making certain motions in the game, you're going to be more likely to show up on the map on the radar, and this helps a lot because in instances where you just have three, four, five players in the battle, it's kind of hard to find each other, or at least it was before. And I think that this changes things. It's a lot easier to, track down your opponent and get into the battle. So we're going to see how that goes. And actually, Dan, I think it's fair to say that hyperplay is the first of many, right? We're going to be
Oh yeah.
taking Speed Force all
Yeah,
over Web.
basically I mean, Spirit Force Arena is really still it's early access beta mode still, guys. I mean, there's so much more that the team has in the sprint planned, and they're really the shipping speed is really quite quick. They're gonna pack a lot of content into the next couple sprints between now and the end of the year, and then February next year, like February, January, and yeah, we're going to be launching on a couple other platforms as well. We've already kind of announced partnerships with them. If you guys follow Aavegotchi and the Curve, the blog, but we've kind of done announcements of partnerships, but now we're actually getting to the point where the games are going live on these platforms. So it's a very exciting time for the gaming sector of Aavegotchi.
One of the great parts about Hyperplay too is we don't just put Aavegotchi in front of their player base, but they're going to be having a big presence at the YGG Summit in the Philippines here pretty soon. Everybody knows Yield Guild, and they have one of the biggest kind of crypto gaming conferences of the year. And we will not have our own booth and be there personally, but it's okay. We're going to be there with Hyperplay. So Pixelcraft will be sending some of our team, our biz dev lead in Asia, and we'll be on the ground on the show floor. I don't quote me on this. I think it was like 5 or 6 games that Hyperplay is going to have play booths set up for that are games that are listed on Hyperplay, and of course Spirit Force is going to be one of them. So Everybody at YGG Summit will be visiting the Hyperplay booth. They'll be seeing Aavegotchi and Spirit Force.
Yeah, I want to add the Hyperplay folks are total chads. I met them at I think it was X3XP, and the founder is Early Gotchi Gang. He was involved in Haunt One, and also was like one of the early people over at MetaMask. So super OG crypto chad.
That's good. Lost Local, if you get Lost Local's endorsement, you know you're gold, because
Yep.
Lost Local also will throw the shade when needed. So pulls no punches. Yeah, those guys are doing it for real. And I did see a question here. Maybe we want to stay on track, but I think it's worth addressing because I've seen it a few times this week. People are really curious about where Gotchi Chain is, and maybe we just
Yep.
haven't had a chance to put out a blog post, that kind of thing. So we should probably take a minute or two and just do a quick update on that.
Yeah, so the Gotchi chain has been, uh, it's been quite a process working through all the various like dependencies, and one of the main dependencies is just the Polygon Supernets client, which is now called kind of Polygon CDK. And I don't want to get too much into just like Polygon and politics, but it's been fine. It's just there's been a little bit of a kind of uh, like just pushing and pulling with their team on like what direction we should be going in with Gotchi Chain. Because on the one hand, we have the Polygon Edge client, which is basically done and is like the old Supernets client, and it'll have this kind of connectivity with the future CDK stuff, but they're not going to be pushing any more updates to that client, and like for it's basically in maintenance only mode. That was the Supernets era, and then they announced the CDK stuff, which is the latest ZK EVM, and they have a lot of muscle behind that client right now. But as you guys have probably seen, it's not really, no one's like launching CDK stuff right now into production because it's not really ready for production. The only chain that's really available is the ZK EVM itself. So basically, we've just been going back and forth with their team, and we've had some other kind of small issues that have been resolved. And I am happy to say that I think, you know, we've chosen the option that was highly suggested by the Polygon team, and we will be going forward with that. It's so there's the development of that is continuing and is actually going to be kicking off again pretty soon this month. So good news on Gotchi Chain. But I should say, like there was no point in launching a chain if none of the games are ready for the chain yet. Like we could, even if we launched Gotchi Chain back in August, there's nothing to really go on it except for the legacy Gotchiverse 2D client. So there was not much reason to really go live with it until the games are ready for it, which we're now approaching a point where we're getting closer to that. So it makes sense to really start putting, Pixelcraft's dev muscle behind Gotchi Chain now rather than 3 or 4 months ago. We did do quite a bit of work on it back in July and leading up to that. It's just the Polygon Edge client and like the SuperNet team was a bit unfocused at the time because they were kind of shifting over to Polygon CDK. Now that CDK is live, the roadmap is much clearer. It should be fairly smooth from here on out.
When we were doing all that work in June, July, August, that it wasn't even called CDK yet. I forget when exactly that even like crystallized.
Guys, they wanted to, one of their names was going to be Supernets. That was, they were kind of floating, calling it Supernets.
These secret code names like Project Uno, Zupernet. There's some good ones. You have a lot of fun. But yeah, it just indicates how early we were to the party, and so they've had to kind of keep. We've been right with them the whole way, and it's going to work out just fine. But for sure, we are on them and want to be there when it's ready. So I guess the other part of that is we touched on a little bit last week, and just so people understand, like when you talk about the Gotchi chain, it's really like the Aavegotchi platform, and the chain is the infrastructure. It's one big piece, right? But there's other things we have to build around it that other than the chain, right? The front end for the whole gaming experience. You see Aavegotchi.com evolving into that with the game center, right? But there's going to be more and more pieces that have to be shipped, and then at the end of it, you're going to feel like an Epic Game Store or a Steam kind of front end to some extent. So there's a lot on that front. There's user profiles. There's player progression. We're going to have updates on all of that. In all the games we're playing now, it's demos, so there's no syncs for Ghost or Alchemica, but um, that utility is coming. Like I think everybody knows, but it's worth repeating that imagine these games once we flip the switch. It's just going to be like
Yeah.
the next level. So I can't
Yeah,
wait for that.
especially the player progression part. Like we can put a game onto a platform like Hyperplay, but without player progression, like there's no stickiness for players. So there's no reason to really come back. There's no sense of achieving anything, and that's kind of the next step of where we're going with these games is actually having a player progression system built for not only one game but every game in the Aavegotchi ecosystem will have that feature, so that these games won't have to build it for themselves either. So like the achievement systems for Gotchi Guardians will be compatible with those of Spirit Force Arena. Gotchi Crawlers, Strata Gotchi will have a system that everyone can plug into on Gotchi chain that's on chain. Won't be, it's not on our servers anywhere. It's on chain, on the blockchain. And all the games will be talking to each other through those.
So,
When you
Cody,
think of
real quick question. Theoretically, I would be able to, like, if someone wants to create an app for, scholarship ranking, like you have different players and being able to see how players are interacting and playing these games and doing, I'd be able to just tap right into the on-chain information and do that, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to see, for example, if you wanted to allow like only certain players that have achieved a level in Gotchi Crawler, like you said, I only want people that have achieved level 20 and above, and they have a badge for that, like an achievement on chain. You could filter by that and only allow players that have received that badge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think like so as we think about all these demos and early access play that's happening now and in the next month or two, you can think of it as like we're raising brand awareness, we're raising, bringing Aavegotchi to new audiences and setting the stage for when these actually like quote unquote like morph into true crypto games, and it's gonna be here sooner than we realize. It'll be here so fast, but that's what's happening right now, right? Is like setting the table for the party, and we get to play while we wait, so it's pretty cool. And I guess that's a good segue. We're already halfway through the
Sure.
hour, so that's a good segue into kind of Project Uno and what the heck is this thing? So before we reveal exactly what it is, I think a good starting point would be like, what the heck? Why are we calling it Project Uno? And we've said up front, it's not a card game. It's not a partnership with the guys that make the Uno game. So yeah, in quite simple terms, Dan, it's basically going to be our first full game to market. It's not an alpha, it's not a demo, and that's why it's Uno. It's number one. It's going to be first to market.
Well,
And so this
that's meaning one. Yeah.
double entendre. Here we go.
Yeah, Project Uno is basically the first full game that we've made as a company, shipped, and will be live in the App Store. So that's one part of the Project Uno. Do you want to? Should I take the other part as well? We ready to get into it?
Yeah, you're on a roll here. Yep.
So the other part, well, and I see Bearded saying we're not forgetting about Gotchiverse 2D, but it wasn't an experience that was fully complete. It was always evolving, always changing. This one it's done. Like it's not going to be changing It doesn't need changes to be complete. It's already there. So the second part is why do we call it Project Uno? Well, we love the meme of the Uno card. So someone dropped the Uno card meme, the one where you basically, you know, you're switching the roles. Waiting for the
Yep.
meme here.
Yeah, kind of a plot twist in there as well.
Because all the games we've done so far feature the Aavegotchi as the main character. There it is, GFA with the legendary reverse card. So all the games we've done so far feature the Aavegotchi as the main character, which got us thinking, well, what about the liquidators? What do they, you know, what do they think? What is their role? What are they doing in the Gotchiverse? So we got thinking, and maybe Jesse, you want to take it from here.
Yeah, that's a good tease. So maybe actually Lost Local should drop in here, because Lost Local, head of BD North America, he's been running so much and working so hard for Aavegotchi's behalf. And about, I don't know, 6 months ago, half a year ago, we got an opportunity that he brought to us that really led to the creation of Project Uno. So Laszlo, if you want to talk a little bit about how this even came to be, and then we'll get into actually what the heck the game is. But you basically made a key connection here that melded with the idea that Dan and I were playing around with, like we want to do more with liquidators.
Yeah, so I have a very good friend, dear friend from childhood, who worked in the app world and for Apple for many years. He was an editor over at Apple. He did a lot of their tutorial videos and stuff. But at the same time, he was launching early apps on the App Store, and one of his first apps was a clock app called Showtime. That was one of the first commercials I ever filmed, actually, in my Web2 career, which I'll get to share that with you guys one day. It's very funny. But he developed a game called Kinect, which was a cool little puzzle game. And, you know, I had the opportunity, I'm going to drop something in chat here, to demo this. You'll see this is an email I got on April 24th of 2014. And this was the first, I think, test flight of Kinect, which was a puzzle game. So as Aavegotchi, you know, part of the BD initiative has been talking to game studios, talking to creators, starting to line up potential titles that would work on Gotchi Chain and get people to build on Gotchi Chain. So it kind of popped into my head that, you know, I should hit up Andrew and see if he has any games. You know, first I was like, I should just hit up Andrew and see if he has any games. And then I was like, you know what? I wonder whatever happened to Kinect. And I sent him a message, and then I shortly after put him in touch with Jesse and Dan. And you know, once they started talking, they saw some real obvious opportunity to bring Andrew in and develop this idea. And from there, you know, these guys ran with it. The next message I got a couple months later, it was kind of unreal how much progress had been made, and also how good they are at keeping a secret. It was pretty impressive. So yeah, that has evolved now over the course of about 6 months into what y'all are going to see today, and it's very, very exciting.
So we've probably teased enough here. Good background, because Andrew is the guy building the game. Like, it's a small team. Andrew is just he knows how to make a puzzle game. Let's leave it at that. So we've got something really special here to show with you. I'm going to drop in the teaser video here we've got to give a first look today. And just to be clear, like, the main coming out party for this game and the promotional campaign that will lead up to its release is going to start in Miami. So that's why we keep saying, like, Miami's going to be big in so many ways. But Gotcha Gang, it wouldn't be right unless we got you guys in way before we go public with it. So without further ado, let's kick it off with a little teaser video that Thrax has helped put together for us. I'm going to drop it into the text chat right now.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Tap on your desk.
Here we go.
All right. Hit play. All right, so you can see here, Pixelcraft Studios, Licky's Escape.
Oh,
Stella, and are you going to help Licky escape? Let's meet the world's friendliest liquidator.
man, you guys have kept Stellar Hobbs busy the last. Gotcha Gang's kept him busy in the last couple months.
uh,
Dang.
Yeah, yeah, Stellar. I mean, we're gonna pull him up on stage here, man. You can rack his brain, but yeah, Stellar Hobbs strikes again. To be clear, I'll say it up front. It's amazing. Stellar's done incredible work. He did the logo for Spirit Force Arena. In between, he's been working on this game with us for the better part of 6+ months now, and him and Andrew and I, we've just like had weekly, if not multiple meetings every week, just working through the sprints, and he's just heads down on it full time, like super full time, and I think he canceled all his other work, and he's just all in on this. So can't wait to get him up here on stage. And then actually the GFA thing we addressed earlier, the graphic novel, I was shocked when GFA came to me and said, "Hey, we're cooking something with Stellar Hobbs." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So he's just all over the place doing good work. And this whole game is just got his fingerprints all over it. So Stellar, if you're in the room, we'd love to have you uh, hop up here and we'll jump into a bit about your work and what you did with it, and then we'll get into the lore and the story that actually goes with this, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, this is a mobile app game. It's going to be released on Apple, as you can see in the graphic there. We'd love to put it on Google. It's got to do well on Apple first, and then we'll roll it out to more platforms. So that's the plan so far. And it kind of goes with what we were saying just about the other titles and their demos, right, Dan? Like we want to reach a wider audience with Aavegotchi and then bring them home to our
and
Discord, to
yeah,
Gotchis.
exactly. It's a great way to start telling this story of Aavegotchi that we've really been hooking up for so long here, but haven't had the easiest medium to tell it in. So you guys talk about the art for a bit, and then I definitely want to talk a little bit about the story of what is going on here in Likit's escape. What's he escaping from?
And so I'll kick out a little synopsis of just what this is about. Basically, help Licky escape from some. We want to help Licky escape from the most powerful forces in the Gotchiverse. And what you're going to do is you're going to use magnets and other tools to manipulate keys and unlock a path to get Licky home. And this was created with fake Gotchis are Stellar Hobbs. If you don't know him, now you know. Definitely look him up. Just go to fakegotchis.com, type in his name. And yeah, it's intended to be a great game that weaves together narrative and art. And so this is also a way for us to get out Gotchi lore and deliver fake Gotchi art at the highest level, all wrapped up in a physics puzzler. So I think it's just going to be something that you know you can share with friends and family, and finally have that product that's high quality that you can introduce to non Web3 people, and and they can walk away being like, I should look into this more. This is pretty cool. But yeah, Stellar, welcome to the stage, man.
Yeah,
Hello,
GM friend.
everyone. Can you hear me well?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay, nice. I guess I'm part of the surprise today.
Man, this is so
You are
impressive.
the surprise, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy to be here. Yeah.
So Stellar, I mean, it's been a journey. We watched the video and we get a sense of the kind of artwork and the caliber of it that's going to be all over this game. You basically have designed the entire visual side of this game, from the characters to the worlds. We're going to explore 5 different worlds in this game and over 100+ puzzles. Um, I don't know, Hefe,
Yeah.
no Futuristic, you guys want to just jump in here and
Yeah, I'm just
any
looking at the
questions?
theme of the liquidators and stuff. Where did you draw kind of inspiration to come up with this like type of aesthetic? I think I see some essence or like those little blue characters, and then of course the liquidator. What like inspired you to create this aesthetic?
Yeah, there is really a lot inside this game. You will find out not only just Liquidator. Of course, it's the main character, but yeah, I spend a lot of weeks working in the shadow. So it's great to be in the light today on stage. Um, for the Liquidator, yeah, we wanted to be as cute as possible in order to understand him and want to help him because it's a reverse story. You are this cute little liquidator who is somehow trapped inside a world that is not really his. And the evil force, you probably know what it is in front of him. They are obviously the Aavegotchi. So it's like Jesse said, it was really a full world construction and kind of ambitious project. I have really busy weeks and weekends also. And we wanted to build this all kind of all worlds because you have 5 different worlds inside the game that you need to escape. Each world is composed of roughly 20 levels. So if you do the math, there are like 100 plus levels. Yeah, and you have everything inside. You have a lore narrative slide. You have some easy level and some really nasty one that are really difficult. You have boss battle, everything you need to have in a game. So
yeah, it's really the like what Stellar's done. It's just above and beyond. His color theory is off the charts. Like the way he works. When we first hopped in the Figma together, I came back after day one and was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna work really well. I think we're gonna go places with this. So he's he's done a great job and been a pleasure to work with, and Andrew as well. I wish Andrew was on the call. He's tied up today, but he sends his regards. And between his ability to make a quality puzzle game and Stellar, like those two were attached at the hip for the last 6 months, just putting this together. So
yeah, we became very close, I think.
As an artist, how was it like working with a game designer? Because have you done that before with another project? Is this your first kind of gaming related endeavor? Just kind of curious to know, like, how was that?
Yeah, it was the first time, to be honest. I worked a bit in advertising when I was younger, and I quickly became freelancer these past years. But I was more into branding, editorial design, UI, this kind of stuff. So building a game was the first time, and Jesse reached out. I don't know. It was in May or maybe June just before the summer, and it was the perfect time for me because I started to get a little bored in my regular job. So it came like a ray of light for me. Do you want to build a game? And of course, it was just make sense for me, and it was not really difficult to work with a game designer, even if it was the first time. We had a lot of discussion meetings, and we had this whole preparation phase at the beginning because we had to build a lot of assets. There is the gameplay assets, of course, like the log, the bubble, the key, Licky's character, but we also need to imagine and create the boss, create the world, and each world has this very specific atmosphere and color palette and objects inside it. We really wanted to give each world a unique feeling in order to let the player feel like he's traveling from place to place and make progress in order to maybe one day escape this world.
Oh wow.
maybe it's a good time. I'd like to give a little bit of context and a little bit more explanation of the story, of course, without giving away any of the key points. First of all, like, why are we playing as Licky? Who is Licky? And this comes back to kind of some of the lore that we've been working on, where we kind of think like, what kind of liquidators are coming into the Gotchiverse, and how did they get there? What happened to them? And there's this whole part of the story where I think it's even in the light paper or one of the docs we published in the past, that there's like the liquidators didn't just come in and invade the Gotchiverse. They had to come in waves, and the first waves didn't really make it through the portal, like going into the Gotchiverse. They died, and then the second wave or the later waves were able to come into the Gotchiverse from the like the ether realm, and they didn't quite like they weren't the same as they were in the ether realm. They were kind of messed up in the head, as we like to say. They got a little derpy. So Licky is basically one of the first liquidators that came through from the ether realm into the nether realm into the Gotchiverse, but he kind of got like derped up in the process. So that's why he's like, if you look at the Licky animation, it's like he looks pretty derpy. He's got the eyes and he's got, you know, the normal liquidator shapes, but he's just like, he's a little silly. So what happened when Licky arrived in the Gotchiverse is that he was kind of derping around, and he actually got captured by the Gotchi King. So what he's trying to do in this game, the first level of the game, is basically Licky trying to escape from the Gotchi King and in the Gotchi Palace. And the king is like, he's like treating him basically like some like sort of pet or like a something to show off to his guests, right? So Licky's not, he doesn't like doing that. He's sick of like being treated like this house pet. So he wants to escape. And he gets some aid from another character, which I don't know if we're going to mention who his accomplice is in this game tonight, but he gets some help from another character we have in the game, and starts making his way out of the embrace of the Gotchi King. But when he gets out, eventually, he still has some ways to go. He's not quite out of the Gotchiverse yet.
We're gonna have 5 worlds to explore, and maybe that we could definitely share tonight. Like Stellar, we got an image of the Gotchi King on call, right? Maybe you could dig one up and drop it in the chat.
Yeah, I can drop it if you want.
Stellar has done some amazing character development. You know, it's Stellar Hobbs' art style interpretation of Aavegotchis too in this game throughout. So there he is. There's the Gotchi King, and he is actually the first boss you're gonna encounter and have to conquer in this game. The Gotchi King.
Yeah, he's not particularly mean, but yeah, he care about his pet prize.
Yeah, he's not a mean. He's not a mean Gotchi. He doesn't want to. Yeah, he has this like prize liquidator that he can show off to his guests, and he doesn't really want to let that liquidator escape.
A little possessive over his Licky.
Yeah. He feeds the liquidator well, though. He feeds him well.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, they're so rare, you know. He wants to make sure it's taken care of, but freedom is not in the cards.
I guess it was the first liquidator in captivity, I think.
Yeah, I think he's the only one, right?
He's the first one, yeah.
I like to say he's like a 1.0 version 1.0, and he never got the firmware updates. He's just a little dopey, poor Licky. So there's the lore aspect. Yeah, there'll be sidekicks. This is a great platform for us to kind of flesh out some of the Gotchiverse lore we've been wanting to get in District 1 and get into Gotchiverse 3D. These characters are going to be there, right? So you're actually going to meet characters that will be populating other games later. And that's going to help a lot too, right? If people are, you know, downloading this game and playing it and getting to know these characters, and then they go to our game center and are like, okay, wait, there's other experiences where they reappear, and there's a much wider universe to explore. So this is the idea, and And I guess we kind of skipped over like actual gameplay. We do have a couple screenshots that might give you an idea of what it's like. I saw some questions about, is this like cut the rope? Is this like Angry Birds? It is a physics puzzler in that line, so I think a screenshot will show a lot here. Let me pull one up.
I gotta say, guys, I've been playing this game. The first time I got it on test flight, like I don't play a lot of mobile games. I like barely do any gaming on my phone. So I got this game from test flight, and it was just the first world, and like just like Golden Cross has been working on this game for most of the time that it's been live, and I didn't really start getting involved until kind of the ending part. But when I picked it up, like the first time, I literally played five five rounds, like five different levels, and was already like kind of addicted. It's like it's simple but fun, man. And there's 100 levels, and they get progressively harder and harder, and you really start to like fall in love with the Licky character, and like the story that we've added is really custom to this, and it's a great. I think it's a great way that you can just show off Aavegotchi to your like to friends or family, or just people on like a train when you're just playing the game on the train because you're bored, because it works offline. This is one of the coolest parts. Like it's not it's more like a Web 2 game in that you don't need to be connected to the internet. You can just sit there and like relax and play it on your phone. So people, they'll be watching, or might have like a loved one or something that you're just playing it, and they'll be like, they're finally gonna get this sense of like what the Aavegotchi IP is. That, I mean, maybe some of us have been able to like get relatives or loved ones like to know what we're all so excited about. But this is literally a game you can put in their hands, and I think most people will probably enjoy it because it's fun and simple and cute.
I'm a bit
It's just
biased. Sorry, I'm a
yeah.
bit biased, but like there's an element to this we haven't touched on yet with the lore aspect that how many physics puzzlers I see Sir Link is done, Cut the Rope, Doodle Jump, Angry Birds, how many of them had like a fleshed out, entertaining story that went with it? I don't think any of them did, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I think this could be puzzle game of the year. I'm a bit biased, but I strongly feel like with Stellar Hobbs doing this handcrafted artwork, with Andrew putting in and digging deep on his like experience and expertise. And I haven't even talked about the music. We brought in Zane Little, and this guy is just crushing it. The soundtrack for this thing is nuts. When you put all that together and then discover that in between each world and like throughout the gameplay, we sprinkle in actually like Stellar Hobbs artwork with a storyline, right? Like throughout, then you actually like get through a puzzle game and you're like actually like enjoyed an entire story with a conclusion. And most puzzle games don't really deliver on that front. I feel like this is a heavyweight puzzle game. Stellar, we just dropped this screenshot of some gameplay. Maybe you could walk through like what are people looking at there. So scroll up, you'll see this is world one, right? We got the blue bushes. We're in the Gotchi King's courtyard.
Yeah, exactly. The first world that you need to escape is called the King's Garden, because the king has this really vast garden, like kind of French with fountain, with very blue bushes and symmetrical path. And you need to escape from the king's garden first before going for the second, etc. And what you are seeing, it's really simple actually. You just need to um, use the magnets. You have positive magnets and negative magnets in the game, and all others too. But we will talk maybe about that later. And you just need to move the key inside the bubble. The bubble is kind of have this very physics floating feeling. If you press really hard the magnets, it can speed up. You need to bring and grab all the diamonds before putting the key inside the lock, and this way you you make your way, open the portal, and go to the next level.
That's it. I mean, you can see here in both of these screenshots, one is more complex than the other. You can see this one, the darker one is
Yeah,
from a
exactly.
more complex world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more an advanced world, this one, at night, kind of not really scary, but you can say that it's a bit of a strange mood inside it. I don't say anything. You need to discover it by yourself. But yeah, this one is kind of more complicated because you have this blades, saw blades. They are moving quite fast, faster, too fast for me, and you need to make your way to the lock and grab all the diamonds on the way.
Basically it. So just as you see there, it's all about manipulating the key, getting it to the lock, and you've got all these magnets and sometimes other tools as well to manipulate it. So yeah, other kind of characters slash things you need to collect, like essence makes an appearance, and so there's the diamonds, the essence, and these all lead up to making sure you can get to the final levels and unlock the final boss battles. So, oh,
Yeah, essence is a key. Sorry, a key item that you will find. Not really much. It's more for special levels, and of course the boss will let you take their essence when you beat them. And essence is another kind of reward that will be useful for the adventure.
And you know, Stellar, you've got the art throughout the gameplay, then there's the story that gets unlocked as you beat the puzzles. And then I guess there's definitely people wondering, like, is there any crypto tie-in at all with this game? And if not, fine. But actually, of course, we can't help ourselves. Even though it's going out on Apple devices, we do want to have that crypto element. So um, the idea is that if you beat the game, we want to grow our email list to support all the other games on Gotchi Chain, right? So when you beat the game, you're going to have a prompt saying, congratulations. By the way, if you want to be able to claim one of the first collectible items on Gotchi Chain, simply put in your email and we'll be sending you a claim code. And you will be getting some exclusive artwork on the chain from Stellar Hobbs. So some Licky themed limited edition artwork will be available. And for many, many people, I believe this will be their very first NFT. This will be
Whoa.
their very first crypto art.
Yeah.
And I think that twist is really cool because it's not like we're trying to sell you crypto art or NFTs or any of that. We're not shilling. We're just like, yeah, you're going to come away from this experience with something that is going to be permanent on chain and it's yours to keep. And it's from the artist that actually built the game. So I don't see any downsides to that. And it's a great way to introduce people to NFTs in a very positive, like non-toxic way.
I love that. Do you have any like what will you do for wallet connect stuff? Like, will the person have to set up a wallet, or will they have like a custodial wallet attached to the game, or for I guess Gotchi Chain when it eventually launches?
Yeah, that'll all be handled on the Gotchi Chain side. This will basically, you know, if you want to claim it, you got to go over to Gotchi Chain, but it's going to probably be, I mean, definitely have social login. We want to make this really easy for, you know, the masses to be able to come in
Oh
and
yeah,
play these.
Google. I mean, wallet tech has come a long way in the last kind of 6 months. So we're actually working on an update to the Aavegotchi DApp right now that's going to start allowing um, social login and email login in addition to like the normal MetaMask stuff. So that works in Unity, it works in Apple, it works in web. So everyone will be able to log in very, very soon to the Aavegotchi DApp and to Gotchi Chain and all the different Aavegotchi like web products that we're making. It's going to be much, much easier than it is now.
Awesome. Last question, I guess, is will this game only be mobile based, or do you plan on releasing a browser based version of it?
It's definitely built for mobile,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
you know, it also depends on the response and how successful it is. You know, one part of this is as Pixelcraft, we're a young gaming studio and we need opportunities like this. This game is much smaller budget than say Spirit Force or the Gotchiverse. and we need opportunities like this to get our feet wet and enter the mobile gaming space and kind of get our licks, so to speak. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's a success like we intend it to be and are fully engaged to make it, then like I said, it'll roll out to Google Play, and then after that, I mean, here, let me just drop something really quick. This is Stellar's intention. We'll try to deliver on his dream, but this is where his head's at.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Started
So
with a running guide, but
hey, put it into
there
the
is a change.
space, man. I would not resist this. Let's make it happen. So yeah, I mean that's where our head is. It's like how much momentum we can get with this game, and I want it to be puzzle game of the year, but we got to get it in front of people, and we're doing our work on that side too. We've brought in some great advisors that know the ropes with Apple and ASO and all that stuff. So we're seeking the expertise we need in order to support this game to its fullest. So
And since we're almost at the end here, I do want to say this will be not, it won't be going fully live for the upcoming Miami trip, but test flight, where we've already integrated with test flight, and everyone in Aavegotchi community, of course, you guys will be able to test this game and play the first world of it at the same time, maybe even slightly before the people at Art Basel. So we definitely want to get feedback on it before the final launch and see what you guys like and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed in it. So we test flight has, I think, an upper limit of like 10,000. So should be enough for our community to be able to go in and you guys can play the first world of it.
yep. So we'll be, our booth that we started the show talking about with Lost Logan, the booth at the events. We're going to be there with iPads in hand, playable versions of not the final version, but really well done versions to put in people's hands throughout all of the Miami Art Basel. And it's I think the audience that will resonate with it, right? Because it's a mix of crypto and art enthusiasts. This is literally a game that is gameplay, narrative, art, all seamlessly woven together. So, yeah, I think it's the right audience to kick off the campaign with, and then from Miami to launch is probably we don't want to launch it right over Christmas, but it would probably make more sense. We'll probably launch it shortly after the holidays and go really hard. And it's not super finalized yet. This is one of the trickier parts we're building out, but we do have some really cool kind of virality type of features that are baked into the game. So, for example, you get on a really hard level and you want to skip it. We could have just said, hey, you got to pay $1 to skip the level, but we're not going to do that. Instead, it's going to be share it with a friend, refer a friend, get them to download it. You do that, you get extra skips. And I think those kind of things can really help encourage people to share the game, get more downloads, get the word out. And yeah, it's going to be a really, really special game to share. So can't wait to get it to all of you guys to play. And like Dan said, whether you're in Miami or not, we're going to need everybody on hand to play it. And all we ask is give us the bug reports, let us know what's working, and if you see any bugs. And then when it comes out, be sure to share the hell out of it. So we'll go hard with this one.
Yeah, I'll take this moment. We did not mention one of the biggest parts of our activation in Miami, which is we wanted the world to see Stellar's really awesome art. So in typical South Beach Art Basel fashion, we are going to do a 55 by 22-foot mural to launch Licky's Escape, which will be taking over the Jarritos mural from last year on North Miami Avenue. So we'll have a street team out there with iPads, getting people to stop and play Lickies, giving them swag, all that good stuff. So that's a big part of our activation that we did not mention.
Big leaky, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely nuts. Andrew will be flying into Miami, hopefully, although that's also TBD, but we want to get the team down there. Stellar's invited too. It's a long trip. He's got his obligations, so we'll see. But I know a lot of Gotchi gang will be there and the Greetors, so it's going to be great. And yeah, I'm just so excited for it, guys. Is the game center updated? We're also going to be while this
Yep.
may not be like the big public launch, it will be showcasing on the Game Center from today onwards.
Yeah, let
So
me
feel
check
free
here.
to
Should
share it
be,
with your friends.
see if the page is updated. Yep,
Should
if
be
you go to, we do have Licky's Escape is now live in the Game Center,
Ooh.
friends.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Looks nice.
I'm stoked.
What do you guys think? Hefe, you feeling this?
I'm feeling this 100%. I'm all about the puzzle games, and it's been a while since I've got on my phone. Like Coder Dan was saying, I don't play mobile games like how I used to. This is gonna get me back in the game, literally. So, yeah, man.
Bro, this is also a great warm up for Gotchi Guardians, everyone. I mean, like Jesse said, we have not made a mobile game as a game studio. I mean, in fact, we're very young as a game studio, so this is a great kind of first run at all the different processes you need to get a game into the App Store. I mean, Slama and Andy have done it, but personally, Jesse and I have. I've only done one mobile game, and that was like 10 years ago. So this is a great kind of trial run for the next year's launches as well, which includes Gotcha Guardians, the other main kind of mobile game that we're working on. As Yellow Panther said on his interview, it's the perfect mobile game, and I agree. But I also think Licky's Escape is competing for that title as well. It's so fun. It's just like addictive in the way that only a mobile game can be. It's great. I was playing it on the airplane. I was having a flight today, and it was just I spent the entire flight just like testing and playing this game. It was so fun.
That's a good way to put a cap on it. You know, we're eating into DAO time now, but just
It was welcomed.
really, yeah, it's been a long time to share it with you guys, and it's still work in progress, right? The work continues, but we're at a point now where we feel very confident, like about when this can go live, and it's going to work. It's going to work really well, and a lot of credit needs to be given to Stellar for just stepping into this role and like going above and beyond. Like he's delivered
That's very kind.
awesome product. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we love it. So
And I want to thanks everyone in the comment for all the love that they are sharing. So yeah, I'm really happy to finally be able to talk about it now. And I hope everyone will have a wonderful experience on it.
you know, one of the interesting things, the reason like I mean, I always liked Stellar's work from the start. The blue cacti on fake gotchis were always catching my attention. It's obviously quality work. But I remember before ETH Denver, just over a year or so ago, there was we put out a call for like, hey, if anyone wants to design an epic poster, right? And for ETH Denver, we'd welcome it and give some fake gotchi cards for it. And there were a number of submissions that were very good, but Stellar like I think on 3 days' notice. It was short notice. Like cranked out this just crazy poster. I'd be proud to put on any wall, anywhere. Like it was so good. And that really is what like when the time came and Lost Local reached out and was like, dude, we got an opportunity to create a very important game here and we could do something special, but who's going to do the design work? And Zbot's, plate is full. He's got 10 other things to do. The other designers are doing other things. So yeah, it's just like, wait, let's tap on fake gotchis. This is a moment to celebrate fake gotchis. Let's make this game about fake gotchis. And in fact, when you go to the credits in this game, there's shout outs and links to fake gotchis. So we're not just going to refer people to Aavegotchi.com, but also fakegotchis.com. So this is a game that wouldn't have happened without not just Stellar, but the entire fake gotchis community and artists and publishers. So that's another important line of this entire project. And with that, we should probably segue to the Aavegotchi DAO hour. So,
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
I just dropped the poster there that you're referring to. Incredible work.
Yeah, bottom right corner, the proto Licky, right?
Yeah.
It is.
He was there the whole time.
The illusion.
Not to say we went through a few drafts, right, Stellar? I mean, it was good. Things take time, and there were plenty of drafts. Maybe someday we'll share early versions of Licky, but yeah, you can see. I mean, the pieces are there, so super cool.
I would love to share also the process, because it was quite a journey from the beginning of the draft and the final version of every characters and every word.
All right, very cool stuff. We'll have more updates as we get closer to launch in Miami, but yeah, just thrilled about where this is going.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, friends, I guess we should kick off the DAO call here. And in usual fashion, let's go through the snapshot proposals. And then speaking of games, we got some alpha here from the DAO side as well too. So I'll have someone come up here in a little bit. But let's get through the proposals first here. Let me share my screen. Alrighty. Okay. All right, so we have a few proposals that have come through in the last couple of weeks. We got a couple proposals that have passed. So let's start with Agip98. Our DAO mission statement was officially voted through. It has met quorum. We have 11 million ghost worth of votes that went through to it. 93% of the DAO that voted was in favor of this, which is something you really want to see, especially for something like a mission statement. There was a lot of feedback and iteration that went through to this mission statement. Shout out to some of the major contributors for this: Phantasma, Lagan, Mikey J, Foreign Gotchi, Backside, Hardcore, First Aavegotchi, Ricky G, Lost Local, PG, Mike Callum, and I'm sure there's many others that were contributing to that thread to make this happen. So thank you, friends, for getting it across the finish line. And this has finally been officially approved. I feel like maybe Fake Gotchi, speaking of Fake Gotchi artists, maybe a way to celebrate this. I'm not sure. But our mission statement is to empower players to own, build, grow, and connect in a multiverse of their own creation. So that is our mission statement for Aavegotchi DAO. And yeah, I love it. I love it. It's I definitely feel connected to it. So and I hope you guys feel the same. Yeah, Thrax, exactly. Phase, yeah, the DAO is evolving. So this is awesome, friends, and yeah, looking forward to kind of carrying this on into the next phase of this, which, in my opinion, and some other people's opinions as well, is to get a committee or a group of people, possibly this group of people, to work on our vision now as a DAO. What do we envision? Where do we see ourselves as a DAO in the next 5 years? 5 years from now, what do we want to look back and say these were our major accomplishments? Of course, we've already had some big wins working with Gotchi Farmy and some of the really great talent within Aavegotchi DAO, but we can really go places. We're really powerful bunch here. So that brings me to Agip 99, which is another kind of upgrade for Aavegotchi DAO, inspired by some happenings at early Art Basel last year, Eat Denver, Lost Local, helping organize a lot of that, and now have joined a crew together to help us, represent Aavegotchi DAO at all these amazing events. So Gotchi Greeters, formerly known as the ITF. I think Gotchi Greeters sounds way better. And so we have Light Piglet, Lost Local, T-Bird, No Futuristic, and Choina, who have gotten together and drafted this incredible proposal that looks like it has also passed with 83% in favor of and meeting quorum with 11 million votes. So really awesome to see this. It'll help us represent Aavegotchi DAO at many of the upcoming events like Art Basel and Eat Denver, amongst some other ones. And we do need a committee to help coordinate some of these events because, as we found out at Eat Denver, there's a lot of coordination that needs to happen. And people are happy to have the Gotchi gang at these events as well. So we have Light Piglet as the admin lead, No Futuristic as the media lead, Lost Local as a Pixelcraft liaison, and T-Bird as lead support or assistant regional manager. So this is an awesome proposal, and if you all want more details on this, they actually have a projected schedule for 2023 to 2024. I'm sure this is a working, I'll defer to the committee on this, but I'm sure this is a working kind of list of things that targets for this year and next. So keep an eye out for this, and I'll also have Light Piglet on here in a second, and I'll let you kind of explain a little bit more of this, and I think you have a forum for some friends as well. So let's get to the next proposals here. These two are live. We have Aavegotchis V1. This was a idea being brewed up by our good homie Thrax and his dev assistant, what do you want to call it, partner, JK, also a new Gotchi gang member. So welcome to the Gotchi gang. And Aavegotchis is a maybe I'll just read the introduction here. Set in a remote training ground somewhere in the Gotchiverse, players will be able to engage in intense PvP battles. For Game Mode 1, will be focused on multiplayer and damage system development, followed by Gotchi trait integration and mech customization. So another thing I'll mention about this proposal is Thrax has put it out there that he does want a lot of community input, wants to build it alongside the community. And there's a forum that's been on fire lately, a forum post. So definitely get your feedback in there. This is going to be incredible. Yeah, this is something I'm really looking forward to. And the SIG prop looks like it's doing well so far. You have 88% of the DAO that's in favor of this. And it's a little short for meeting quorum, but you also have 2 more days to vote on this. So friends, while you're on this call, or even after the call, get your votes in here. Cast your votes. Gotchi Vault, that they'll be doing their own vote as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Strategachi V1 funding proposal by Lagan. He's been working on this since I think earlier in the year when he first proposed this, and there's been ongoing development. And so the background here is the original version of Strategachi was proposed as a strategy game that featured lengthy multiplayer games. Following community feedback, significant refinements were made to the game concept, mechanics, and graphics. So I'm going to let Lagan speak on this one here in a second, but we have 93% of the DAO that's in favor of this one. And again, get your votes in, friends. You have 2 more days to vote on this, or sorry, 6 more days to vote on this proposal. So quite a few days left, but just make sure you get your votes in as soon as you can. But yeah, that wraps up our proposal review. And with that being said, I'd like to invite Lagan up here if you'd like to come up and give us the alpha, sir. GM. You're muted, sir.
It's because his internet is lagging.
Lagging's lagging. I'll give you a moment.
Oh shit, I was muted.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
GM, everyone.
Keeping us in suspense over here.
Yeah. Sorry about that. How's everyone doing? I just want to drop a quick link for you guys.
Absolutely.
There you go. So if you guys haven't checked this out yet, this is the latest gameplay video. So it gives you an idea basically where we're at. As you mentioned, Hefe, the game has been in development for about like 4 or 5 months now since I proposed the original idea. And I just been like plugging away at it in the background. Like I've come a long way with this game, like personally and with the development. When I first started off, I really didn't know much about Unity. So I took this as an opportunity to kind of learn Unity as I go, you know. So that's been interesting. I've reached like a level where I can pretty much like manage my way around Unity, still with the coding and stuff. This is definitely not me who did all the coding. I've worked with like various developers over the months, and right now I'm with a guy who's pretty much going to be the guy that's going to like take this to the finish line. He's not a freelancer, so he actually like has his own games on the App Store and that he like manages as his like business. He makes money off of them. So yeah, it's a good fit. The guy has a really good like understanding of like how to clean up the code and make it really like efficient and stuff. And that's pretty much what we're doing right now. Like a lot of the, if you see in the SIG prop, I mentioned a few of the things that like tasks that need to be done. And a lot of it has to do with like revamping old code that was written like either incorrectly or just didn't really work the way that we intended it to. So yeah, guys, that's where we're at right now. And
What are some of
I'm
the?
asking for.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what are some of the major kind of, because there was a bit of a shift now in your approach to this new iteration of the game. What are some of like the major differences from how it was before to this version that you're working on now?
Oof, man, it's like it's basically a completely different game.
Okay.
Like it started off with like the main thing that like I had to fix was I wanted it to be a single player experience because like a lot of people, I know I wanted to make a strategy game and a turn-based strategy game, but the multiplayer aspect was like turning a lot of people off, especially with the design of the old game. It was a really like complex, like long game. Like you could play games. I was selling it as like 1 to 2 hours, but like some games could go like 4 to 5 hours. You know what I mean? If you're really playing. So, I mean, that was the major thing that I changed. And then from there, I just started to like research different ideas and stuff. And one thing about like turn-based games that like kind of turns me off is when it's like they're really deterministic. Like you can figure out who's going to win the battle like just by looking at the character kind of sometimes. And so I was trying to figure out a cool mechanics that like could stop that from happening, because a lot of times it ends up being like you hit the enemy hits, you hit the enemy hits, you hit the enemy hits, and then that's it. Like you could guess what's going to happen like 5 moves down the line just by looking at the enemy. So I came up with this idea of like the enemy telegraphing its attack, and then you having to like maneuver around what that's gonna do, and that kind of became like the main premise of the game right now. Is like the enemy basically tells you what it's gonna do, and you have to like figure out how to like mitigate the damage. And another like big aspect of the game, I guess you could say, is like the fact that everything moves around sort of like a puzzle. I kind of imagine it like, you know, those like flat puzzles where like you shift around tiles to try to make the image like complete. It sort of reminds me of that in a way, because you're constantly like manipulating like your characters and the enemies by the way you hit them and the weapons that you have. And so that's going to be a huge part of it, is like what weapons you have equipped are gonna really determine like what kind of gameplay you're going to be experiencing, and like what type of strategy you're going to use, because each weapon is going to do something different. Like a lasso will pull the liquidator towards you, whereas like a portal mage axe will hit the guy in front of you, pushing him forward, and then the two guys to his, if there was units to his left and right, they would get pushed outwards to the left and right. You know, so each weapon is going to have a unique effect, and you're going to have to like tailor your gameplay to that.
It's like a 4D chess kind of thinking when you're playing this game.
Kind of. It's like a puzzle game. It's like a puzzle with moving pieces that each round like kind of presents you with like a new scenario, and you're trying to basically like survive that round while harvesting whatever it is we're going to be harvesting. So like there's some resource out there that you're going to collect, and like I guess the story of the game, the story level is that you're a crew of like Gotchi miners. Okay, and you're like the citadel is no good for harvesting anymore. Like all the lazy fat Gotchis the aristocratic gotchis, they sucked it dry basically, and the alc in there is not, the price is not good. So we need to head out into the grid, into more dangerous territories to find the good stuff basically. And so that's what your crew is going to be doing, and you're going to go through these like procedurally generated landscapes, and you're going to meet some characters along the way, and there's going to be also like a sort of like a character that's like sort of like your guide or your boss, and he's going to be the one who's going to like punish you when you do bad.
Oh man, this is so cool. I love the design of the characters and the overall aesthetic, we talked to Stellar Hobbs during the first half of the call, and I kind of want to know your experience. Like, how was it learning Unity and taking? Of course, you've been an OG, like even before fake gotchis, you were a Aavegotchi artist. But like, it's interesting to see that evolution from that to like what you're doing now. Like, what are some of the things you've experienced? Good things, challenges, that sort of thing.
I mean, yeah, learning Unity was a huge thing for me. I've actually worked in game development before. I worked at a local company for a couple of years with like a couple of my buddies here in Kuwait, where I live. I worked on some of the biggest like local games here because they have they have one of the biggest games. It's a card game. It's like a modernized, animated, like really fun version of a local card game that we play here in Kuwait. And so yeah, I built a few games actually with those guys, but I was always working on just the art part, and I always wanted to like get more into the development side of things. So like I've learned a lot. I watched a lot of tutorials, and then also just getting hands on like with the devs that I'm working with. I hired a bunch of different people up until now till I reached the guy who I really settled with. And so just getting used to like GitHub and all that good stuff, you know what I mean? And like getting in and just reading the code and looking at the project just to try to figure out like what the hell is going on, has really helped a lot. And I've broken things at times. But like yeah, we're at a good place right now, and we're pretty much like really close to the finish line right now. I know I said that before, but like I didn't really have a huge budget to work on this. Like I put about like 4 or 5 months of my own time into like learning Unity and working on the concept of the game and all that stuff. And I also like spent somewhere around like $4,000 to $5,000. And I have about that much, about like maybe like 5 or 6 thousand that I need to spend to get it to where I wanted to get it before I present it to you guys. And so that's where the budget ask is from. It's pretty humble ask.
I agree.
Compared to the amount of work that's gone in, and I'm not getting paid in this iteration at all. So like the point was to present you guys with something that if you like it, let's take it to the next level type thing,
Yeah.
And
I think
that's
this
what I
looks
did.
really cool. I love that you've been iterating on it and getting it to a place where these can be quicker games to play. What's the platform you're offering it on? Do you think it's going to be a web desktop client, or is it going to be a mobile gaming experience?
Well, like originally it was a web the desktop type idea, but like lately I've been thinking more and more about making this a mobile game. It just it feels like a mobile game. Even the way like I designed the stage, it looks like it's like 1920 by 1080. It looks like a landscape of a on mobile, you know.
Yeah, totally. And the DAO
But
doesn't
yeah,
have any mobile games, so that would be great.
not yet. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it might be multiple platforms. I'm not sure about like the technicalities. I know like it probably isn't that difficult. A lot of people have suggested things to me that I don't understand yet. I need to do research about how to connect like the crypto side to the mobile thing. It's much
Yeah.
easier on desktop or client web. Um, but yeah, it's still early, I think, for that. And this first iteration is definitely going to be just like a website that you play on. But from there, like I have big plans. Like this is like this demo V1 version is the basic gameplay, and it's one large like it's going to be like an infinite island. You just go as far as you can. Every 5 rounds or X rounds, and that might change. You're going to go to a new level, and as long as you have rep, you have to maintain your rep. That's your biggest thing, because you're a crew of miners, and let's say like you're out there and like you're being sponsored, let's say by some kind of character. Okay, so he's sponsoring you to go out there and do this work. And so as long as your rep is good, you can keep advancing to another level, and try to hit your targets. You know. Uh, so yeah, it's gonna be that kind of game.
That's interesting. Yeah, and
A
so
little,
for the
little bit of
first
story, a little bit of puzzle.
for the first iteration, is there gonna be is this gonna be like uh kind of like a gotchi crawler style experience where there is no, like, we're not integrating gotchi traits yet, we're not doing like a lot of the blockchain web3 stuff yet, but of course like later on there'll be some of that, or is there gonna be like things, blockchain or NFT kind of web3 elements in
This
this
is
version?
something like Vax was saying, I kind of hope that the community will give me some ideas on.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to find like cool, interesting ways to use our assets and all that stuff. But so far, like the focus has been on building like a fun game, you know, like with
Yes.
like good gameplay and like replayability, good design, sounds. That's been my main focus. But I know there's some like smarter guys out there in the community, like all you guys, that could definitely give me some cool ideas. I really love what the Gotchi crawler guys are doing. I think that's really smart with like the essence. I don't think it's actual essence and stuff yet, but like there's opportunities to use like some cool stuff in there.
Yeah, I totally
And I
agree,
hope to
man.
have
Like,
something
you
similar.
know, you can always plug things in afterwards, right? If the game's fun and people are playing it at that point, like rewards and, you know, on-chain elements and on-chain reputation and stuff, that can all be added in. You know, that's I like that approach because it gets your game out there. You know, it gets it in the hands of people playing it and enjoying it. So, um, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really reasonable ask, and something I've been wanting to get my hands on for a while. Strategachi. I love this new version, especially not having the hours and hours that I'd love to. You know, I was a Monopoly player for a while. Really love Monopoly. Playing that, you know,
Yeah.
you leave the board game there overnight and you start back up the next morning. But you know, I like this like new approach and having these shorter pick up and play type games for sure.
Yeah. I think that made sense. Like a lot of the, let's say, the opponents of my initial prop, they were giving me like good feedback, kind of, you know what I mean? And like I didn't take any of it personally. It was good feedback, and then I used that to like fuel this new game idea, and it turned out really good. I'm happy about it because um I mean, like there's still plans to there's a plan for a multiplayer version of this game as well, but that should come later, I think. You know, I think it should come like before I ask for like $130,000 last time to make the full huge idea that I had. But I realized it would be better and people would feel probably more comfortable if I took it step by step. So that's what I decided to do with this, and I'm really happy with the way things have gone.
Yeah, absolutely. So you also mentioned, you know, you'd love to get some ideas from the community. Is there specific something specific you're looking for feedback wise? And if you do have something you're looking for, do you have like a forum thread or somewhere where friend or even DMs where you'd like friends to kind of give you ideas?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, my DMs are always open,
Yeah.
and I'll drop a link to the server right now.
Oh yes, definitely drop that.
And then there's a couple places actually. There's also the Strategachi gaming channel here in the main server. That's always that I always check there. And then here's the link to my server. I believe
Yeah,
that's it.
definitely check
Yeah.
this out, friends. I'm gonna join right now.
Yeah, guys, drop by, and I'll be dropping like things in there, you know, some behind the scenes stuff. I'm working on like some new particle effects for like different weapons right now, so I'm gonna be dropping a little bit of like teasers and stuff there. It's gonna be cool.
Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for coming up and sharing this with us here. Anything else you'd like to share with us? This initial release. Actually, one question I have, and friends, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. But one
Yeah,
question I have
please.
is regards to like when can we see this? Like when can we actually get our hands on it? Maybe even an early test version.
Look, honestly, I've been kind of holding back, guys. Like I've had a version online for like many months now. And the old one looked completely different here. I'm gonna drop like a screenshot or something of what it was. Here, I'll show you right here. It's been online and we've been testing it for a really long time. But every time I like I think about it, I'm like, man, if only it was like if I added this, it would be much better like reception. You know what I mean? Like if only like this was working, it would have people would be more excited about it. So I really wanted to like make sure like everything was tightened up and looking like amazing before like I release it to you guys because yeah, I plan on doing another prop like if the release is successful, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm thinking like I said in the proposal, like 4 to 6 weeks, and like honestly, like I gave myself more time than I think I would need. So we could say like 4 to 6 weeks is a very conservative estimate on when this will be done. And
Oh
it
man.
will
So
probably
this like
most likely
soon.
be done way sooner. Yeah, like it's like you can play the game. Like if you look at the video that I put on YouTube, like you can play the game right now. But there's a couple things that are like that are stopping me from being able to test the do the tests that I want, like balancing out like health and damage and stuff like that. It's really difficult because the player movement system is not working the way I intended. Like right now, like obstacles and enemies, they don't block your path. You can go just kind of anywhere almost within a certain range. That needs to change. Another issue is with the interaction system. The old way that we had it was like collider based, and it becomes like you get to these times where like you can't click the tile that you want to click because there's other colliders blocking it. So we're changing all that to like a raycast model, and that's gonna fix all those issues and things
Awesome.
like that, basically.
Yeah, like little
Yeah.
tweaks, but sounds like yeah, in the next couple months here we'll be able to play this first iteration, which is awesome.
Oh, definitely. Wait, less than that.
Less than that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, friends, check that out. Check out the Discord server. Give your feedback if there's specific things that you think would make this even better. And yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I just want to say before I go, guys, if you guys have voted already, I don't know if you're aware, I kind of spammed every channel about this, but the vote had to get deleted. The first sig prop it was done in the incorrect format, and so we have a new one up that was just put up yesterday, I think. And
Yeah.
so yeah, please vote again, basically, if you've already voted.
Yeah, Saturday's the best day to vote, so you don't forget. And yeah, I'll make sure I get my vote in on that new proposal as well. Thanks, Choina. That's the one there. Go check that out. Get your votes in. And yeah, thank you
Awesome,
for your
guys.
time, sir. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you,
And
guys. I appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'll be in the chat.
sounds good, man.
All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, friends. Well, with that being said, Light Piglet, if you'd like to come up here and discuss Gotchi greeters, you got something cooking up here as well in terms of enrollment and activation. So, love to hear more on that. And yeah, if you'd like to come up, I can definitely get you up here. GM.
Yeah, so I mean, Lost Local kind of stole all my thunder, which is fine. But he spilled all the alpha. Yeah, so we're gonna have the launch of
More alpha than I was supposed to. I totally suck. So just throw that out there.
Fine, it's totally fine. So you guys kind of already know what we got planned. Big spotlight on fakes and fake activations. Zbot's got something cooking, and we're gonna be on the street having people test Licky's Escape. So if you don't have an Apple device, this might be your chance. I don't have one, so I'm kind of screwed. But other than that, I just want to encourage everybody to go fill out the location form so we kind of know where you're at, so we can plan future events. We definitely want to be where people are located versus just kind of all around wherever we feel is best. And I'm going to put up a poll or some sort of form to see if people are interested in going to Miami specifically.
I guess that is one thing we can talk about. Something I'm kind of curious about is, so what in your guys' mind from the Gotchi greeters, what's the process of like activating and enrolling Gotchi gang members? What's that going to look like usually?
So the type form is there. I've already dropped it in a few different places. Our general train of thought is we want to get as much local staff as possible. And then if you're already planning to come to the event or you want to work and you're in at least the country or that of choice, we're trying to, keep travel costs minimal because we will be paying for flights and lodging and all that stuff on your behalf. So if you want to work, we'll fly you out. You'll have lodging with the rest of the people and all that kind of stuff. Per diems, all that stuff is already accounted for in the budgets.
Are there like specific skills people would need to have, to get preferred, or if they're, let's say, have to travel? Are there specific skill sets you're looking for?
Well, for media, you got to be either comfortable with a camera or on a camera. Having previous examples for media stuff is very helpful. As far as working the booth, we want people that have been at least active in Gotchi Gang for a while. Can't just have random people coming up and working and representing the DAO, because when somebody asks them a question, you kind of need to know the answer. So it is helpful to have some sort of track record on Discord somewhere, something like that, that we can refer back to, like, oh, this guy knows what they're talking about. If I'm at the booth with them, they're not going to be running to me every single question. We do want you to have a good foundational knowledge of Aavegotchi. People do ask random stuff that you may not know the answer to, which is totally fine if you don't know the answer and you have to ask me or something. But you definitely want to have a foundational knowledge of the protocol, the games, fakes, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. And so we do have this event coming up here that you have dropped the type form for. That's for Art Basel, right? That you're recruiting for currently?
Yeah, so I mean, currently there's nothing specific
Okay.
to Art Basel, but you can indicate that you want to work on that type form, and we're going to try to get people that are near Florida somewhere first, and then we'll go further and further as we need. And then if you're already planning to attend Art Basel, that's also helpful.
Yeah, awesome. I think we did mention some, since Art Basel is the next one coming up, there's gonna be some events and activations you guys have already kind of planned out, right?
Yeah, so at the Gates Hotel, which is like one of the main areas for a lot of the Art Basel stuff, we're going to be there for 4 days, 3 days. And we'll have a few different activations, kind of booth thing. We're going to have the man in the street with people testing the new game. There will be a brunch on Sunday. There's a rave on Thursday. A couple other things that are still cooking up. So yeah, that's what we got so far. Zbot, like I said, has got his big thing coming for the booth as well.
Oh, is Zbot gonna be there for this one?
Zbot will be there live in the flesh.
Dang. Okay, friends, this is your chance to meet Zbot. I've never met Zbot. I know No Futuristic has, but
hung out with him a few times, and it's been fire every time.
mhm.
Yeah, I've also met Zbot before. He is the man. I've known about Licky's escape for months because none of these guys can keep a secret. So I've been holding in that alpha for a while, but they're all awesome. All the summoners that I've met so far are awesome, as well as Lost Local.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so call to action. Fill out your availability. Maybe if we can get that form dropped one more time for anybody that missed it. Yeah, there you go. Choina dropped it here. Go fill that form out, friends. Get your availability in there, and we have quite a few events lined up this year, or between this year and next. It looks like.
Yeah, I mean, the next big thing is going to be ETH Denver, which we're trying to do it real big there. We will want a pretty large crew. It's going to be pretty small for Art Basel. So don't feel bad if you don't get picked and you're in the US and somebody gets picked over you, blah, blah, blah. ETH Denver may be your opportunity to show your skills, show me what you got.
Oh man, Lost Local dropping something here. You sent alpha alert and you dropped a curious image here. Any chance you could elaborate a little bit?
So we're going to have people filling out a form with just their general contact info, name, email, get them on the Curve blog and stuff for Gotchi Chain, all those kind of updates and that kind of thing. And for doing that, they will get to spin the wheel. So we will have a prize wheel going with Gotchi prizes, and we're going to try to get some other stuff Polygon related, game related, our other partners. Try to have a plethora of prizes from different places.
Oh man, that's fun. And so, in order to be eligible for this, you have to fill out this availability form, right?
No, this will be for in person. You
Oh,
got to
in
be there for
person.
that.
Got you. Got you. Okay, you got to be there for that.
Troina, good question. Lost Local can maybe answer that if the BFG will be there.
BFG will not be at in Miami. He is in safe storage in Denver. We're going to leave him there. We didn't want to have him traveling around too much before ETH Denver, so he's resting there. This is going to be the prize wheel is kind of our big, center of the booth here, and then for ETH Denver, all of these wonderful things will come together, and we'll have this great activation with our BFG, our prize wheel. We'll have a screen down there in Miami also demoing all of our titles as well as the Gotchiverse. So this is kind of like a little bit of a mini activation, mini booth. We didn't want to, spend the funds. It's quite a bit of money to ship that guy around. So we wanted to be a little bit smart with how we approach this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for Denver to get that BFG look.
Yeah, I'll say I feel like going into ETH Denver this year, we are already talking about getting lodging now, like being able to have a budget going forward, so we don't have to kind of rush it at the last minute is going to make a huge difference and really bring a lot of value to these activations and the money that the DAO has put forward towards it.
100%. Yeah, again, and I think that's the biggest thing. Having this committee is being able to plan ahead and having the budget to kind of help you guys along with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be able to grab lodging for Denver like well ahead of time because we're not going to spend our full allocation for the first quarter on Art Basel. So we'll be able to get some things situated ahead of time, which is great.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so there's some alpha drop to your friends. I'm pretty stoked about this as well. Uh, Anything else you got there, like Piglet, regarding events?
Nope. That's it for right now. Like I said, just indicate your interest if you want to work or just have any interest in live events at all.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. No, thank you for the update and the activations, and I'm stoked for the Gotchi greeters.
Great, thank you.
Perfect. Well, friends, we have a few minutes left here at the end of the call. I just want to kind of look through the forums and direct your attention to some things going on that we should probably maybe not discuss this time around, but we should definitely discuss in the coming weeks. There's a few threads here that are definitely worth your attention and would love your feedback on these things. And so one of them being here, of course, Thrax's Aavegotchis thread has been getting quite a lot of activation, quite a lot of attention. Give your feedback, especially regarding the how you'd want to see Aavegotchi's traits and that sort of thing integrated into this experience. Next one here I see is also revenue sharing for DAO funded initiatives. This was brought up by Oliver Spoon and kind of prompted by Gotchi Farmy's Chad Move to actually not donate but contribute. I believe it was 50% or a little over 50% of the game revenue from the sandbox experience back to the DAO. So again, this was not put in their original proposal, but the Gotchi Farmy, they're just Chads, and they have been able to kick back some funds back to the DAO as the sandbox experience picks up. So that started a conversation around when we're building games, and do we need not do we need, but do we want to have some sort of like a general framework around how we would deal with projects when we're funding big, especially big projects, how we want that revenue split to work out for the DAO. If there's a fixed number, if there's going to be some sort of an assessment on each project. I think this is a good thread to discuss that. And yeah, please provide your feedback there. There's been quite a lot of discussion. So that's something we can have a more formal discussion on in maybe over the next week or two. And ongoing discussion as well. So yeah, just check that thread out. And here we go. I think this one was mentioned last week. This is just in regards to treasury management and created by Maxi Crouton, and just talking about how we can manage our funds that we have, our idle funds in our treasury. It's more a discussion on if we should be managing it in a more active way, or if the DAO is happy with the way we've been managing them. And there's not a recommendation, but an idea to maybe use Aave v3 to deposit funds. And so those are some of the more active threads that have been going on recently. I want to get your feedback on that. Of course, we also have the Freckle Aavegotchi thread that's been going on as well, by Lord Trivia, which is another experience coming to Aavegotchi DAO. So please give your feedback there as well. And so those are just some of the ongoing threads, and check those out. Yeah, that's all I really have for this call. Actually, one more question I did kind of want to throw out there is ThriveCoin is now ended, right? Season 3 has now ended officially, from what I understand. If there are any members of the tab team, like, I'd love to, maybe we should start a thread on just how we want to think about community rewards, based on what we've seen with ThriveCoin. Is that something we feel the community could benefit from, having community rewards? Or maybe even a different platform that we might want to use, depending on how we feel about it. But I think that's worth having a thread conversation about as well. Yeah, Soju saying we're ended. Yeah, phase. Yeah. Are they claimable? I think.
I can.
Go
I
ahead.
am more than happy to speak on this.
Please
I
do.
would
Please do.
definitely suggest that we go in a different direction and not use ThriveCoin ever again.
Okay.
The team is nice people. I have nothing against them. But yeah, it was not a great experience as both the user and somebody on the tab. I do not want to do it again. So.
Okay, excellent. I mean, that's great feedback. And from a concept point of view, aside from ThriveCoin, do you think it's something potentially effective that we could use? Like, do you think it's a useful thing to have some sort of a protocol or system for rewarding friends that are contributing in meaningful ways?
Absolutely. I think it was a good learning experience, both on the DAO end, on the tab end. I had like one idea with hardcore kind of and crypto-gotchi kind of coming up from what happened with Thrive. There's been talks of other things. I think the give praise idea in general is a good idea and has its purpose for like small rewards. It's just like a nice thing for the community. And then if we can get some sort of like, ATF, DTF, whatever we had before going, that would be great. I kind of like revived that thought. So that's like a good thought to have. I thought, Thrive really like showed that we needed that again.
Yes.
So hopefully we can make that happen.
Absolutely, for sure. I totally agree. And there's some things cooking up on that side of things too. But yeah, okay. So in concept, it's something that the community we should be brainstorming on it. But as far as a solution, ThriveCoin doesn't seem like it's going to be it, and we should move on from that. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lost Local saying I've sat through tons of pitches for community rewards programs. It seems like I've seen a lot of projects trying to take a stab at this one, and maybe it's a DIY. Maybe it's a DIY. Maybe it's something we do internally and develop, especially with the reward system that Coder Dan was talking about, having an on-chain kind of reputation or player progression that happens through Gotchi chain eventually could be tied in with it. But yeah, Voltron Hackathon sounds like it was something good that came out of this, and maybe there's some more ideation that needs to happen around that as well, because we could use more hackathons for sure. Yeah, well, I mean, friends, that's all I got for today. We covered a lot here today in this meeting. Just reading some of the comments here. Soju saying was amazing getting to empower other creators, being in somewhat of a leadership role in our community, which is awesome. And Hardcore saying the path to winning is Voltron for MVP and tech updates, ETF to manage the ecosystem, and DAOs in the middle of it. Is on the middle of it on do we go from MVP to full product? Yeah, I mean, there's probably some promising things there in the ETF. Of course, the DAO a few months ago has officially transferred 100K Ghost worth of player rewards to the ATF, and there is some talent there as well. So maybe it's a time to explore that a little bit more in terms of like hosting Voltron hackathons, maybe purposing some of those funds towards hackathon incentives. So that would be really cool. Something to think about there.
Is there a way to request those funds? Is there any protocol in place, or is this still like we're figuring this out?
Yeah, so there's a way to request those funds. Ideally, I mean, right now, if you're in the ATF server, if someone could drop a link, I can drop a link here at some point at the end of the call here. But you join the ATF Discord server, and in there, there's a multi-sig, and basically, if you're a game developer in the Aavegotchi ecosystem, you have a game that's operational and running, and you want to host a event, you want to host a game with a prize pool, you can request, I believe, up to 500 ghost. It's capped at 500 ghost currently for incentives, for game incentives, for prizes. So that's what that money was originally purposed for, but maybe having a little bit of a larger chunk allocated towards hosting a Voltron hackathon would be awesome. Yeah, PG dropping the link there. Thank you, sir. So anybody interested in either deving, if you're beginner dev, or you are a dev and you want to build a game, that's a great place to bounce ideas around, ideate a little bit. And also, if you want to host your own tournament or experience around a game that you've built, then you can also request up to 500 ghost in that server. And I'm on the multi-sig as well. There's a multi-sig. So long as everybody on the multi-sig votes in favor of that, the funds can be transferred over. So that's the process there, basically. But yeah, with that being said, I think we're at the end of the call here, friends. And yeah, it was great. We covered a lot of alpha. My brain is overheating right now. But I'm looking forward to all these experiences. It seems like we're picking up our stride as the market's starting to look a lot more optimistic. And, we're going to get more gotchis in front of more eyeballs this year for sure. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm here for it. So thank you all for coming out and joining on this call, all 60 of you that are still here. And don't jinx it. Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what's going to happen, man? Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready for more beatings if that's what it is. But I'm just happy to be here, like many of y'all, and we've been building this whole time. So it doesn't really feel like I've been in a bear market at all. Yeah, White Ranger, we did find out what Uno was major alpha there. You were making tea. Okay, yeah, definitely go back, listen to the recordings. There's some major alpha. You don't want to miss that. All right, friends, with that being said, I hope you have a good weekend. And if we don't see you this week, we'll see you next week, 2 p.m. UTC for the call. Have a good one, friends.
Take it easy, friends.
See you, friends. Have a great weekend. Peace.
Be well, everyone.
Later, y'all.